Okay, remember that they're changing my voice. I have information about the shooting that happened in Morgan Hill. Now, keep in mind that there's 23 witnesses on record to the psychological operation against me, and people who work for the government have verified, and they've really told me what I know already, which is that these mass shootings are coming from factions of the government, and they're centered around me. Now, first of all, I've been talking about mass shootings for a while now, and I've connected things definitively. I've connected the wordplay definitively. And when the Marissa DiNapoli case occurred in Morgan Hill, I brought up that her name is Maria Scramble, and that Maria Mello broke my heart at Live Oak High School, okay, when I was in high school. Now, this mass shooting took place near Live Oak Street. The vast majority of streets in Morgan Hill are not called Live Oak streets. And on top of that, for one of the news videos at least, they made the main picture of the news video a picture with the sign Live Oak, okay, Live Oak Ave or whatever it's on the screen, as the main picture. That's not a coincidence. I also connected the Marissa DiNapoli murder to the Mellow Bucks album release party shooting event in Chicago. And Chicago isn't very far away from where I am right now, okay, which is in Michigan. Okay, I'm by Detroit in Southfield. So the female who broke my heart, her name was Maria Mello, and Marissa scrambled is Maria's, and Mellow Bucks, right, her album release party have Maria Mello. Now, in the shooting, one person was killed, several people were injured, and the shooting occurred right as the Santa Clara County Sheriff's Department was rolling up. Now, I have a video of the Santa Clara County Sheriff's Department rolling up on me, okay, cracking down on me because of my videos and because of the psychological operation against me and the resulting disturbance that occurred at my residence back in unincorporated Morgan Hill back when that incident occurred. I'm no stranger to some of the officers at the Santa Clara County Sheriff's Department because the government is running a psychological operation on me. And on top of that, when there was the satanic ritual abuse events with Michael Aquino in California back in the day, it was someone from the Santa Clara County Sheriff's Department, of all police departments, all law enforcement agencies, who was like the main person trying to blow it open. That's not a coincidence. Now, the way this thing comes together, it's very clear that it's not a coincidence. Also, Santa Teresa turns into Hale Avenue. And my best friend growing up, I believe was his first girlfriend when I was dating my first girlfriend. Her name was Teresa, and she lived in Morgan Hill when I was dating my first girlfriend, whose name also has very much significance, right? My middle name is John, and her name was Johnu, right? Like, ooh, in terms of, you did something wrong, or you're attracted to that person, you think he's hot, or whatever. So you see how this thing comes together a certain way. And it's very, even that honking right there was, someone working for the government honking, trying to disrupt this video. That's a story for another day. So, again, I have 23 witnesses on record to the psychological operation against me. There's some videos that point right to me. I used to live on Uvas Road in Morgan Hill, and I pointed out that the Uvalde shooting back in the day, right, it's a play on words for Uvas lead, right, Uvalde, right, Uvalde's. The shooting was one that occurred in Uvalde. There were Uvalde's residents, right, so Uvas lead, okay, and Uvas deal. Now, why does it center around me? Because I'm the top martial artist, and martial is marital scramble, and I, Christ, am the bridegroom. You see Proverbs 34, right? Who holds the wind in his fist? See New Living Translation. See Proverbs 4:18. The path of the righteous is like the morning sun, shining ever brighter till the full light of day. Okay, in Psalm 19, it says the sun is a symbol of the bridegroom. In Psalm 18, it says God trains the king's hands for battle. And Proverbs 16:12 says the throne is established in righteousness, New Living Translation, justice. So that righteous intensity, okay, striking at world record speed, okay, is how the throne is established in righteous intensity. The Lord is the warrior, the Lord is his name. That's Exodus 15:3. And you have Isaiah 42:13, where it says the Lord marches out as a warrior, as a champion, raising the battle cry, what have you. So it's a martial art order. If you have any questions about that, put in the comments. I had to kind of go through this quickly because they interrupt me, and I get persecuted, especially while I'm making these videos, whether I make it in the park or in my house where I get fumed or in the driveway where I am right now. Really quickly, in Isaiah 57 verse 5, it talks about how the Israelites were burning with lust. And the word lust is the word slut, scramble. We'll get to that. And how they're sacrificing their children under the ravine. And it brings up the oaks, right? Live Oak High School, it brings up the oaks. And the word oak is a plain word for ka, meaning spirit, o, the reproductive cycle. And the word live is evil, spelled backwards. And notice they said that the party was unsanctioned. And part of what I'm doing is a social movement which one could perceive as a political movement, but I don't see myself as a politician. I talk about issues, homelessness, wealth taxes, oversight, citizen committees. I talk about how the rich could easily spend a small amount of money every year, and they could pay for tons of oversight for homeless programs, what have you, and they don't want to do that. And so it's not a coincidence that they said it was an unsanctioned party, and also one of the most publicized political events that's going on right now in the country is this person, I forgot his name, it's like Al Saeed or something. He's running for, I believe it's for Congress here in Michigan. And he's talking about some of the issues that are similar to mine. And Bernie Sanders came here and, what have you, with AOC, and they took pictures and had some kind of rally and so on and so forth, right? So that's significant here as well. So there's a lot of connections here. And I've connected things like you wouldn't believe. If you look at the playlists I made about these connections, and you look at it, right, I've had people who work for the government go over it. People who work for the government who have been assigned to run psychological operations on me, obviously they agree. And they said, yeah, the odds that it's a coincidence are too unbelievably unbelievable. It's not a coincidence. Now, it's interesting how this connects to the idea of the existence of God, right? The same types of people who deny that there's psychological operations going on. They denied it before the Epstein case came out. They deny it during it, even after all this time, and they still talking about Epstein and all these victims having psyops run on them, being targeted, being persecuted, being harassed, what have you, by these massive corporations that collaborate to do all this human trafficking, right? Gang stalking connects to human trafficking. That there's still all kinds of people that sink to the level of denying that these psychological operations exist while people are being abused. I mean, if you look at, for example, in Israel, the denial, we see that real briefly here. I looked it up earlier, and it said there was 51,000 rapes or so every year in Israel, and the population is 10.2 million. That's about the population of Michigan. And I looked it up, and it said last year there was 6,000 reported rapes. So it was like 51,000 reported in Israel or something, and only 6,000 or so in Michigan, if I'm getting this right here. That's a drastic difference. But you see people, they take on a state of mind known as cognitive dissonance, and they refuse to believe it's going on. It's like surreal to them, and they refuse to accept the reality that they're living in a rape state. It's the same thing here in America. There's people being trafficked and harassed and all the time, and law enforcement's playing stupid about it. There are so many law enforcement agencies, and none of them talk about these psychological operations effective. There's just one guy from one police department who went on the news, Santa Cruz, back where I used to live, and I used to go to Santa Cruz all the time. I have videos in Santa Cruz, what have you. The last person I dated was from Santa Cruz, and the person, Larry Richardson, was a lieutenant at the Santa Cruz police department. He said gang stalking's real. So where I lived 45 minutes to an hour away, or about an hour away from Santa Cruz, depending on what route you take, how fast you drive. And the police department there admitted it's real, and I was gang stalked there as well. There are all kinds of idiots saying it doesn't exist. So you have somebody with 23 witnesses on record. You have the Havana Syndrome, Epstein victims, Keith Rainier, Weinstein, Cosby. You have all this evidence of these organized campaigns to discredit victims and whistleblowers, And the police department that was not very far away, they admitted it was going on. And then in Stockton, which was maybe like an hour and a half from where I lived, the Stockton manager came out and said, I believe it was the mayor was being harassed by the police department there. So you have all this evidence, and I have 23 witnesses on record to this day, and I can show you the videos, right? And you have people denying that these things are taking place. And it's very much connected to the technology, the data centers, the brain hacking, the artificial intelligence. I can guarantee you that shooting in Morgan Hill, like a lot of these mass shootings, a huge number of them, might even be all of them, probably not, but a huge number of them, are the result of brain hacking, remote brain hacking. Okay, I can tell you that with certainty. And I'm the son of two doctors. My father's a brain surgeon. Okay, I can tell you that with certainty.